18 years or maybe 20 years I know you. But if somebody don't know you, if somebody's watching this first time, how would you like to describe yourself? We're going to talk about everything in AI animation, just seeing it right now. But how you describe yourself first in your own words?
I describe myself as a constant researcher, a constant learning person who likes to keep himself updated with everything, anything around him. Trying to keep myself with the latest tools, constantly researching my interest and keeping up with the current scenario. That's how I would describe my choice of specialty is more like in the animation industry. That's how my career has been through all these years since we met and everything that we know. There are other places of interest, but this is my main area of scope of interest.
Scope. Yeah. So you are in the animation industry more than 2 decades now. It's been a long journey. You've seen a lot. If you compare this, what you've seen right now in AI animation, which we're gonna discuss, but how you seen the industry when very early days of your career? How you seen that?
Yeah.
How things are? If you give us some idea of it, yeah.
Yeah, I would say this animation industry has a bigger scope, and I am only joined it in the middle of the journey. In the sense, I'm not even the early days of it. The early days of it was Walt Disney and everybody who did it when there was no such thing, who got into it and made sure that this is a medium of storytelling and everything. So they are the real genius, Walt Disney and his movies and movies with everything that you can imagine, they made it. Now, one of the biggest genius thought process of Walt Disney, I should say, is entertainment industry. When you perform an arts or something, you have to perform to entertain people. Now, the same performance doesn't come in a different timing, in a different date, or in a different period or anything. You have to, again, either practice it perfectly or try to replicate through another medium which constantly plays the same thing. So that is where the filmmaking comes into the picture. People started recording the drama and then replaying it as cinema in the television or in the movie big screens of it. That said, that was for the live action, but Walt Disney took it to the next level, creating the art. You can paint a picture, but you have to paint a couple of frames of picture to make it move an animation. Like 16 frames per second was what they were using. We have gone up to 25 frames now, or 30 or 60 FPS. You know better by now. But back then, 16 frames were like the standard. Even to cut the cost, what they did is in between they cut off the 8 frames, so it looks a little snappy, but the cost of production is half, and they can get the film outside without drawing all the in-betweens of making it more smooth. So that is where the 2D effect of animation, the snappy style or the jerky style they call, is come through. Right now, we have the technology to make them more smoother. We don't have to jerk the eyes to keep every part of the animation. And also Walt Disney, he invented the science of storytelling in various aspects, which is also applicable to the modern day filmmaking, which is like the 12 principles of animation or illusion of life, or like all those books that he has read, which is considered the Bible of this animation industry, which is applicable to everything part of the storytelling. Now, there is silhouette, there is composition, there is color, there is grouping, there is so many things that constitute a frame of a movie. What their thought process was, this frame is going to come for 1 or 2 seconds. Within this 1 or 2 seconds, the story should be told. Whatever needs to be conveyed has to be conveyed. So we cannot take more time for a single shot to tell the story. So based on that, they used the lighting, they used a color, they used every single thing to their options they have to their benefit in order to tell the story. Now, when that comes into art, in art, you have all the liberty to choose the color, to choose the character, to draw a character, exaggerate it, push it, however you want to tell the story. Whereas in live action, you have to work too much to achieve it. Like to get a person who's looking like a villain, you really have to look for the person. That one person is a casting process. You will be like looking for hundreds of people. Here you can draw from the references, and whichever is making one person looking like a hero or a villain, they will boost those features and exaggerate it to make him a likable person, more likable, much similar to what we are seeing the cuteness character in child movies. Like child's proportion, the head is bigger and the body is smaller. They exaggerated to an extent like you see the entire head and the body is too small. The cuteness exaggerated. That is one thing. Also, the eyes are the most cute. They make the eyes even more bigger because eyes are the most storytelling. And they also made some scientific research. In a frame, the first thing they see is the highest contrast value is the eyes. They always look at the eyes. And then comes the highest moving thing, which is the fingers.
Okay.
So these are the two things you watch in a shot. Like you watch the eyes and you watch the. So that is why when there is a hero standing, nobody looks away. Everybody looks at the hero because once they look at your eye, what is he looking? Then they look at the person. So every composition goes back to
Okay.
looking at the hero or pointing at the hero or something like that. So wherever the eyes go in the screen, they have to come back to the point where the director wished to say the story. So that's where the eyes come back. So these kind of principles are all in the books called Illusion of Life or cartoon animation or everything. That's the fundamental where you get the idea of confidence of storytelling. You just don't tell a story and think like mine is better or somebody should comment on it. No, you should know if it works or not. If somebody is commenting, you should know the standpoint where he's commenting, to take his comment or not to take his comment. If you don't achieve it, everybody is going to confuse you and make you feel look like you're not heading in the right direction. Only your core confidence will help you to decide, yes, I know what I'm doing and this is working. Yes, we all take chances, but I'm taking a calculated risk where 80% I know this is going to work. That's what I mean. And always there is scope for improvement. Always there is scope for. There is always version 2 because there is version 1. And time is, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah, time is quality. Day 1 you think, and you sleep on it and you come back and you look at it again. Day 2 you think a little better. So time is quality. There's need to be an interval. So if the person is saying I made this in a small period of time, probably he has done it several times and that's why he's producing that quality quickly. So it does take time to learn. It does take time to improvise. It does take time for every single thing aspect of what we are trying to do in animation. So that is the base of it, knowing what to do. Like what to keep in the frame, what not to keep, what is the extra, when to go close, when to not to go close. Sometimes in the name of animation, when you have the camera shot so close to the face, just an eye blink is a very big animation. But if you have the camera too far and the person is standing, eye blink is not enough. You have to shake the hand, head, whole body, because that is what is making the percentage movement in the screen. So you will be able to watch and get the story point of it. So sometimes less is more, sometimes more is less. It all depends on how much impact we make on the percentage impact we are making on the screen and how much we can take it. So that is about the composition and the core of what you're moving. So why I said is I was starting in the middle of the journey. So even though I started as a 3D animator, which at that time is like AI now. Now, how you are seeing, looking at AI, oh, wow, revolutionary. We are going to make a movie out of AI and everything. I would say AI is a smart assistant right in front of you who is going to take away all the pains of doing some painful work of writing or painful work of creating images or painful work of looking at versions or painful work of even animating. So all the pain factor is leveraged now. So
I'm going to come on to this pain factor. Yeah, I'm going to come on this pain point. But what I understand for so far, it's a lots of science behind it. It's not just an animation. Like there is a pros and cons of making film with a real character, and there is a pros and cons of making film with a animation character as well. And you can play more with it. And there is a small things better, like a blinking an eye and the hand movements and everything. And you can create the cuteness and everything as well. But what I wanted to understand, like you said that you joined the industry as a 3D animator. Yeah, so very initial. And you said that it was not even a starting up. You joined in the middle of it, and when the already Walt Disney, and you work with all the big names. If I name it Walt Disney and all the Pixars and things like that, you work with all big studios. So what are those pain points as a 3D animator when you join them? Like what is it most time consuming, or is it like a science, or what if you just
the
double-tap
pain
on that?
points, I would say, let's go back to the 2D animation. They had a pain point of like drawing the keyframes and also drawing the in-betweens. So
Okay.
the keyframes are the
If you can explain me what exactly.
Yeah, if you're looking at a comic book, it's mostly keyframes, the storytelling keyframes. In a comic book, you can just look at the keyframe and tell, okay, and start reading and understand. Same comic book, if it has to be converted into animation, you have to draw the in-betweens and animate and every single thing of the book. So that is animation. They're drawing it. Now, when the 3D came into the picture, this in-betweens of drawing is actually made by the animation software and then rendered. So that is where the leverage of having a 3D software, where we were actually once we set up the keyframes and post them there, we started getting the in-betweens as a bonus, and it was taking away our efforts of. So all the in-between drawing and painting is not required. You just need the animator who puts up the key to it. Right. Also in 3D, the asset building is like one-time hard work. You need to develop all the assets and keep them ready and create the environments and keep them ready for consistent. Whereas in 2D, there is no such thing as building assets. Back then, they have to draw every single looking at a model or looking at a real doll or something, and they just keep drawing for every single storytelling. Over here, we create the asset and we do the same thing, which takes extra effort to achieve at a point where we are going to save time and money by actually animating the characters by posing them and then playing them and looking at it. So this in-between creation is where the 3D really helped as an art. And also with the 3D, they started focusing more on shaders than the lines, because the lines were highest contrast value on the character previously, the 2D lines, ink and paint line, which is really, they used to do the dark ink line for all the characters. So no matter what, the BG and the character always stand up. In the 3D, that line has been removed, and we just have a shader and lighting that, which is close to the reality of real life. In real life, if you're taking a movie, you cannot draw a line around the person. You got to light the silhouette out of him or make him cut color with the dress or color or something, and then you bring it. Same thing started happening in 3D light rendering and everything. So that is where the jump in technology of what we are getting. And the softwares also, so many softwares have been developed. Some are being used in-house, like Pixar has its own software which never got released, or they just released the render engine outside for everybody to, it's called RenderMan and everything. And then we have the developmental softwares which came from different arena. There came a Kinetics Studio Max, which is more like a mechanical animation software, which is called 3D Studio Max at this point of time. And then came Alias Wavefront Maya, which is more focusing on character animation part of it. And that was one of the software which was constantly developing. And then these softwares were at one point of time gaining each other's skills, like the more of animation on 3D Studio Max, and this is also becoming a modeling and rendering software, Maya. They were competing against each other. Then the companies got swapped. Kinetics Max became Autodesk, or like 3D Studio Max and everything. And then the Maya was like from Alias away from Maya and then got bought by Autodesk. Now every platform at this point of time comes from one single company, which is Autodesk now. So all the other companies have been engulfed, and all these platforms, which it's like using a first language. When you grow up learning something, that is what you continue using. If you learn French, you want to continue speaking in French, or if you learn English, that's where the software happen. Like whoever is using Max, they want to continue using Max. Who are using Maya, they want to continue using Maya. And then came to compete these two, the Blender. Blender was such a, it's been here for more like 20 years by now, silently. Nobody touched it. Nobody knew it. Or when there was an install, Blender is another 3D software.
Okay.
And it's been here for like more than 15, 20 years by now.
Okay.
And it's only famous now because it's fully packed and it's fully capable, but it's free again. So back then it was free, but it was not capable because to write all the tools and code into one single software, it takes a lot of effort. The free software cannot perform because they only had so much resource to pump in the power of the software. So the software got at lowering down again and again. So this Blender was there. It was super difficult to use. It was not so friendly. Only the core people were using it. And since it's not so friendly or user friendly, people were sticking to Maya and Max. So Blender were never really a competition at that time. And fast forward now, what happened is Blender started taking all the key features and giving it for free, like a rendering engine or a graphic cycle rendering engine or an animation on everything. They may not be as top notch as this Maya and Max, but still Blender started giving everything for free to an extent where we started using it. We started using it for render. Instead of having a render farm and having file license of Maya, we started installing Blender and started using it as a render farm for rendering the softwares. So that's how it came in as a part of the ecosystem right now. And right now, with the AI and the software development, the Blender's growth has vertically taken up, if you understand what. So now it's equally competing with all the major softwares. To an extent, the major softwares are reducing their licensing or making it free or trying to push. This is for the first time in my life where the monopoly of softwares like Photoshop, Maya, Max, or anything, Adobe After Effects, they started putting ads in the social media to make people know that such softwares are existing. That is the height of where they've been, and now they have to put an ad. Why I'm saying this current generation is not touching any of these softwares. They are like in Canva or anything, and they get the job done. We don't have to go to that software which is like trying to make us feel like we should be certified to use you and then constantly learn and then install a bloated software which is constantly like 5 GB, 6 GB and constantly updating for no reason. And then you get a feature which is full of feature, whereas you just need one small thing. You always want one little breakfast or one small thing, and then you have a platter in front of it. It's so overkill all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why am I taking the Boeing to go to the office next street? I would just walk. That kind of overwhelming technology bumped on top of us. And also it's coming as not just one software, it's coming as 10 softwares. And even the smallest software, the PDF reader, is such a bloated software. Like 5 GB, 6 GB of installation, and they are like, oh, your PDF can be read. You're actually reading our data and you're calling it a feature.
You're calling it PDF.
Where if I need it, I will rather post it in ChatGPT and watch the same data and get the summary. Why do I have to do that? I don't understand. Like every single thing, like again, the media plays the bigger role. Like if you constantly keep saying something, the people are confused with the information and the logicness of information. They're like, okay, maybe this is how it is being done. Maybe this is the trend. Maybe this is what I should do. That's how you lose the inference of reality, and then you try to accept what is being seen in the media most of it. So that is what is happening at this point of time. Now, coming back to the 3D and the development of all these softwares and how we have been constantly getting close to doing it easily. Then came this AI. This AI was there for 10 years, used in bankings and insurance. Nobody cared. And we also used a different terminology called smart systems instead of saying AI. There was a terminology, my AC is smart, my car is smart, my
car is smart.
Now television is smart. Like everything. What
now
is
everything
smart?
is AI.
Now the same trend is everything is AI. Now
smartphones.
The smart is actually a decision making rather than making yes, no decision. It makes a little extra decision of based on other things. You know what I'm saying? So with the AI is such an agent. Apart from giving yes, no, it can say some in between answer also. When the data is so complex, it can choose a better decision of agreeing or disagreeing. That's where the AI comes in terms of decision maker. So coming back to the filmmaking part of it, I've been researching AI for color correction, dust and scratch removal.
I will come to that point. Before I get into that when you start using AI. But so far I understand that you are in the industry, you use multiple software, you work with the multiple companies, and you know the pain points of it. And what I understand is that every software have their own capabilities and their difficulties to using it. And those big companies are using this opportunity to using their software and charging you more. Now this free open AI sources and everything is available. And AI was always there. But before I jump into that AI part of it, I just want to give my listener to that idea of who not from the AI industry. I just want to get the idea of what is the rendering time. Is it because I heard with a lot of my friends from the AI industry or even from the editing part of as well. What is the render time? Is it the killing time or is it productive time? If you can describe it yourself, because I'm going to use this in later on when we jump to the AI part, how things are changed now. If you can explain what is this render time is.
The render time, what is rendering? Let's get back to the basic of it. You draw a line and they keep drawing lines and they have a playbook of drawing. And then comes another artist who's called render artist who keeps painting and filling up everything in between and give the color and shade and make sure all the pages are looking the same. This is the render artist actual terminology.
So there is a particular job for the artists who do this rendering part and who do the rendering.
That is
render artist.
the render artist terminology that currently I'm talking about is like more than 60, 70 years old. A 2D
Okay.
artist who would manually paint everything called rendering.
Okay.
Now, coming back to the rendering now again has two different. One is 3D rendering, where the
Okay.
shaders and everything is physically calculated and the image is rendered. That is one thing.
Okay.
Inside 3D rendering, there is a actual GPU based rendering and CPU based rendering. CPU based
Okay.
rendering are perfect and takes a lot of time. And GPU based rendering does the same job in a much quicker way with multiple cells of processing units inside it. That was the GPU rendering. And inside GPU rendering, they started implementing AI models to render stuff which is not there by assumption. Now, you can also assume like if I'm wearing this jacket, now if I turn back, you assume it's black. And that information is given by AI to the
Which year? So which year you're talking about? They use this AI.
this AI I'm talking about 5-10 years back.
Okay. So before this pre-AI version of
The
ChatGPT.
pre-AI version, they used to use it in the graphic version of it, which is called NVIDIA's graphic rendering. And
Okay.
from the GPU rendering, CPU rendering, we started jumping into GPU rendering, which using NVIDIA cards. So
Okay.
those NVIDIA cards with the CUDA cores were helpful for us to create in between frames, shading, and everything. So AI was started right there. With that rendering, which is actually rendering the images or the scene files that we had, we were able to save 10 times of time and money. Like one frame which used to take 13, 20 minutes for a full quality, we were able to get within 1 or 2 seconds for a 60% quality.
Okay. So it's
So
10 times faster.
which is more than 10 times faster, even at least for previous. Like you want to see a
Okay.
story in color, you want to wait 1 month or 5 days. I would rather wait
Yeah.
5 days to look at it and then go for the 1 month rendering in the back burner. So
Okay.
that is the difference it gave us. And then at one point of time, it even started matching the quality of the fine render and the GPU render. So this was like 5-10 years ago. We were like gaming cards and everything was doing this job for us, which passively used in AI and then started actively using AI at this point of time.
So again, same thing that the smart things are already there, but they are named as a smart, not as a AI. And you're using it in the graphic cards.
They never used the word AI. Artificial intelligence was only after the chat GPT came in, this word has become a trend.
Okay.
The AI has become a trend. Previously, insurance were using it to predict the future or which area to be done. They were using it with the data of collecting like who is claiming, who is not claiming, where we are paying, spending. They were even the banks were using it. All this collective data with numbers, the bank was using it, creating a correlation, and they created a model, and then the model started suggesting, okay, in future you do this, you do this, you do this. So they were all using it. They were using a different platform called SAS. They were using different platforms of PyTorch or anything. Like it's all Python based and everything. Why I came to know more about this is I studied data science around 2015 or something,
Okay.
which is like a data science. I wanted to know more about what's going on in the current trend, and I studied data science. In that, I got into all this model analyst part of it and everything. It's all about data. Even now, this AI is nothing but it studies all the data and creates a model. And that model is like a baby that is trained after watching all this movie. Now the baby will tell a story. Now, AI models have personalities. Now, much similar to like if you're a manager and you have 10 different people coming from 10 different cultures or 10 different exposure and experience, and you know this job this guy will do easily, or this job this guy will do easily. So you will replicate and you give the task accordingly who is going to do what. AI is similar. AI models are similar. One model does something really beautiful and it's dumb in another process. Another model does the complex job beautiful, but the simple process, it takes more time unnecessary. It's like if you're going to a lawyer to write a leave letter, he's going to give you a 5 page, which is like, we don't need that. It's just a leave
We don't
letter.
need that, yeah. You have to choose your right model for you, which one you
You
want,
have to
and
choose the right
what purpose.
model. Yeah. So currently we have even achieved that state. I'll tell you, let's save it for later. So these are the various different models we have at this point of time. Now, how 3D animation got into this AI industry. Now in 3D animation or 3D filmmaking, for instance, You have to break it down into the process of how you approach it and how you start it. First
Mm-hmm.
comes the idea of market research. If you want to make a movie, you do the market
Mm-hmm.
research of who is your audience, where is your
Mm-hmm.
audience coming from, who am I entertaining, which group has the money to buy the ticket or subscribe the Netflix, or you usually entertain people who can give you back the returns for making this entertainment, because only those people are going to appreciate you through the income stream. Or like, however, let's say first demography of the audience is what research you make. Any content that you're making, you research the demography and who is your audience and the audience age group, and the audience age group plus all the other psychology of what they like and what they don't like,
Mm.
which is because of the interest that you need to show. Like if you show a young woman 18 and 19, or like even uh, what do you call 20, 29s, 30s, or anybody, all these women, when you show a
Gen Z and
fatherly
everything.
figure or anything, they like it more
Mm-hmm.
because they always resonate with the childhood father relationship.
Okay.
So that's one cycle. All the young people, when you have a mother sentiment, the boys like the mother sentiment more. So telling the story with the element of what the end user would like actually resonates a connection. Once you connected, that's when the story gets hooked. That's when you watch the movie continuously. Why I am saying this is, if you calculate the backbone of the movie properly, then the movie gets built on top of it. It's like the
It's lots of
foundation of
research
the,
and data
yeah, it's the
foundation maybe to
foundation
understand.
where you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even when it comes to building, where you want to
Mm-hmm.
build it, how far the sand can go deep, and all those
Mm-hmm.
foundations should be strong to build the entire building. That the movie is like that. The movie is not
Mm-hmm.
starting from the scratch. Oh, this shot I like, let's build a movie. No, you have to start from the foundation of your target audience, what you're going to storytell, and then you complicate it. Okay, now I understood there is this sentiment of a mother for a guy which I have to build because my target audience is like 18 to 19 and I want them to connect with their family thought process. So that resonates emotionally. How do you connect
Mm-hmm.
emotionally? This is how you connect emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
by telling a story that they can connect in their life. That's how you do it. Now, AI comes in suggesting these points to you if you are a newbie. That
That's a really interesting data. Like even before you start anything, you have such a like quality research you have to do before you jump onto it, making a first scene of your framing a data or like a making a film kind of. And there's a lot of science behind it. And I can see from I can understand what kind of like industry experience you're coming up with. You from the pre-production, building a script, and even before getting the script ready, you think about the target audience, and then start making a character. Even before you start making character, you do all these things, and then you make a character. And you did all this in a pre-era AI era. You spend a lot of time to building up on it, yeah, learning it, because you said earlier that you are a learner. The first thing you said about yourself is I'm a learner, and you're still learning, and you do a lot of other things apart from animation as well. So if I ask you one thing, okay, everything was going on your AI industry in the in animation industry, you're going through a lot. What point of life you thought, okay, this is it, now something is changing and I'm a learner, I have to learn something new. What was that point of your life you think that, okay, I changed my idea to move to the AI now. I'm no longer doing this GPU and rendering and everything.
No, it's not like a overnight dream or anything flashpoint that made me. It's a
Okay.
slow convergence where I am realizing, because making a movie or becoming a movie maker or a production artist, it's not one point that changes you. You have to have grip over everything that is going to help you, support you to do it. Now, if you are like getting hired in a company as a manager or something, do you think going back 1 year you made the decision to join it? No, it
No.
starts with your schooling. It starts with your kindergarten, your friends, your first standard, then 10th standard, then your teachers, then your college selection. Everything comes back to it. Now you just
Hmm.
feel like, okay, last year I graduated this year. No, you're a complete package. And based on that, you took this decision of finally joining this company for XYZ reason.
So you
Similarly,
said that it was not like that over the night decision. You've seen that things are coming in your way, that chat GPT
yeah,
is
the thing
coming
is,
and things are building up, and then you said that, okay, now we have to switch that in a gear to get an AI.
yeah, the
Is it?
thing is, as we talk, the technology is maturing. I still find like, okay, this is still not working. To getting the complete thing out, there is like 10 different points that is required. Now I was finding, okay, now we have 1 point that AI can do. Now we have 2 points that AI can do. Now we have 3 points that AI can do. Now I'm like looking at it, it's almost like 99% AI can do. You see what the difference is? I was still telling, okay, AI can't do this. Okay, AI can't do this. Okay, AI can't do this. Now I tell AI can do most of it, but you still need that one person who requires it to do it. That one person, I know what I want, and this is the way to get it done. Back then, I was looking for finances. I was looking for a team. I need a pre-production team. I need a storyboarding team. I need a script writer, storyteller, everything. Right now, the help is at your fingertips. If you really want it, you have it. Now tell me the reason why you can't do it. Then it's you. If you
Nobody is
cannot,
stopping you to make
nobody
anything.
is stopping you. Everything is like, I really very privileged to live in this era, because back when I started, I never really thought we'll see a self-driving cars. I started driving when I was in age 13, and stick shift and everything. Self-driving cars is like a dream come true. Like I only saw it in the movie and everything. Am I living in that era? That's a big shift. Similarly, when I do the viewport and I start animating, I wish I can see the real colored footage of it at one point of time. Right now, we are having viewport rendering, which is showing the real close output, which was close enough for that. And then now I'm like, why am I cluttered in this difficulties of rigging, modeling, UV, unwrapping, blah, 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 simulation, dynamics? Why don't you just think about what I want and get it? Now we are living there. This is like unimaginable. And this is possible because of the technology, the nanotechnology or the micron levels they are getting in, how much GPU power they can punch into one small chip. That chip is enabled to process so enlarged data. That enlarged data is capable of producing these things that you can imagine now. Like 12 billion parameters or like 13 billion parameters. Even now they're going to petaflops and teraflops. So we are getting to a point where like you no longer can say come up with a reason other than not liking it, but there's no reason to say no. Yeah.